Today I'm going to be reviewing the new Jack Black comedy, Bernie. And I've got to say that when I first heard about this movie, I got a little worried. I thought, oh great, Jack Black in another lame comedy. Because he hasn't had the greatest track record in the past couple years. Then I heard that the film was being directed by Richard Linklater. And when I found that out, I was like, oh, okay, all right. Maybe it's got a chance. It might actually be good. Because Richard Linklater has directed some really, really enjoyable films over the years. Some of my favorite films, including Dazed and Confused, a true classic that everybody loves. Waking Life, which is one of the best animated films I've ever seen. A Scanner Darkly, which is, aside from Blade Runner, possibly the best Philip K. Dick adaptation ever put to film, also animated. And Slacker, which is kind of an oddity. It's a film that begins following one character around for about 3 or 4 minutes, and then he interacts with someone, and the film switches to the character that he's just interacted with, and follows them around, and then they interact with someone else, and it keeps switching off. It's like each character passes the baton to the next character. Very strange film, but very, very good. And of course he's also done, he's done School of Rock with Jack Black, which is the main reason I got excited about this one. And he's also done the Before Sunrise and Before Sunset films, which are some really very, very romantic films. So when I heard that he was directing it, I thought, oh, this is different. This is kind of different. A black comedy starring Jack Black as this guy who apparently was this live-in assistant to this older woman whom he ultimately shot in the back and is now serving a life sentence for murdering. And I just thought, this is strange. But the film is set in Texas, and people who know Richard Linklater know that his films largely do take place in Texas, and he has a great flair for a kind of the sense of Texas life. I want to start with mentioning Jack Black, who is an actor and musician that I've always looked up to and liked, but he's done some bad work in some films. And I just want to say that this film stands as one of his finest performances. It's understated, it's subtle. He's not doing the Jack Black, Jack Black thing. He's doing something very, very different. And he's slightly effeminate, he's a little eccentric, but he's not overplaying it. And that's one of the things I gotta tell anybody who's doesn't like Jack Black, who says, oh, I don't go for that, over-the-top style of acting that he does. This is very different from that. I also want to say that this is a dark comedy. And a lot of times dark comedies make people think, oh, great, another mean-spirited movie. For every dark comedy that's done well, like a movie like Fargo, there's a dozen that don't do it well, like Duplex or Drowning Mona. These films are just not likable movies. And that's the problem with dark comedy, is that dark comedy largely is charged with making fun of bad things happening to people. Someone is killed. Oh, let's laugh about it. This film is not your average, ordinary dark comedy. This thing, number one, is genuinely funny. But what's really important about this film is that it actually has a heart to it. It actually sympathizes with the characters in the film. And I can't emphasize enough that Richard Linklater really brought together a kind of a rogues gallery of townspeople. And a lot of the best moments in the film belong to these townspeople who really just sit there and give interviews about Bernie and about the woman that he was responsible for taking care of. And they're funny. They're genuinely funny people. And it's these actors, these bit players that are in the playing the role of these townspeople really do get some of the biggest laughs in the film. A couple of other things about the acting. Shirley MacLaine is in this film, and it's hard to believe that it's 2012 And this woman is still delivering effective performances. She is very, very good in the film. She absolutely embodies that role, and she makes you hate the woman. And it's like this woman was in The Trouble with Harry, the Hitchcock film, back in 1955. And she's still acting. One last thing, Matthew McConaughey. He's another actor that I have kind of a rocky history with. At times he can be very good in the right material. But in this film, it really draws on his strengths. Let's face it, Matthew McConaughey plays a great lawyer. He's done it in countless films, and in this one he's back again. He's a district attorney. He's very, very strong in the film. And overall, he's the character that the film most wants you to root against. But the funny thing is, as I sat there watching it, I kept thinking, this guy makes good points. And it's because of Matthew McConaughey's skill and charm in that role that those points get across in as strong a fashion as they do. Bernie is a film that is far beyond what you would picture a dark comedy being. And it's got a lot of charm and a lot of heart and a lot of guts to take a character who could seem loathsome and actually make him a little bit sympathetic. And for that, I give Richard Linklater another thumbs up on this one. This film garners a light 8 from me.